There he is. There he is. What's going on with you guys? It's your friendly neighborhood DP Brown. Let's get another clap for your boy. All right. Hopefully you guys can hear me this time. So, yeah, Marvin's in the crib right now. Marvin, can you hear me? Can you hear me now, Marvin? Is it good? Is it good? Marvin's always keeping me on track and everything. So you know that Comicsburgh is in the house, and you can actually, like I said, hear me this time. All right, so guys, welcome to the Comicsburgh show. I want to thank you guys for showing up again. So thank you again for yeah, thank you. We can hear you now. All right, so yeah, like I said, welcome to the Comicsburgh show. I'm your friendly neighborhood DP Brown. You can find me all over social media at Dog Pound Brown. Let's get some house cleaning out the way. It's been a decent month for Comicsburgh and for just life in general. If you're not caught up in all the craziness that's going up, we're still here. So I mean that deserves a clap, right? We are still here. We're still trying to bring like the best content to you guys, still trying to bring like the best stuff. And so far, so good, with the 2026 in January. I'm sorry, in January, February, and now March, clocks change this weekend and everything. So be aware of that. So don't forget to change your clocks come tomorrow night. All right. Make sure that you guys are following us at Comicsburgh. We're, like I said, all over social media at Comicsburgh, X, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's formerly known as X, TikTok, anywhere that you're on social media, you can follow us at Comicsburgh. We are now on Substack. All right, so we're on Substack now. Glad to be on that. We announced last week that we got major distribution with IPG, so happy about that. All right. Send us some make sure that you're going us to our website comicsburgh.com, where you see everything Comicsburgh related. We're all over there with all our books, from The Edge, Beowulf, League of Cryptids, Memoirs of the Morbid. We got stuff from Page. It's everything's on Comicsburgh website. So if you want to see what Comicsburgh has to offer, make sure that you go there. We got a podcast now, so thank you for if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to us, and also you can go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify podcasts and be able to listen to us. Soon we'll be on other podcast formats like Odyssey and other places. So you can tune in, so you can actually listen to us if you're in your car on the way to work or to your destination and stuff. So make sure that you're subscribing to us on those channels. Send us some feedback. We love getting feedback from you. We love letting you giving us feedback so we can actually find out what you're thinking about Comicsburgh and all the stuff. And if you got some business inquiries right now, you can go to info@comicsburgh.com. So definitely go there. Make sure that you're supporting your public library. Always got to support your library. Comicsburgh will be getting our stuff into public libraries, and soon. Like I said, with the rollout of Beowulf, the Theme of Thieves, The Edge, you'll be seeing our stuff, coming up in libraries pretty soon. 2026 is going to be a busy year for Comicsburgh. So for any news, info on Comicsburgh, like I said, go back to comicsburgh.com. Make sure that you're following us on our social media chains as well. All right. So let's get to what we're going to talk about today. We're going to give you like a really good thing that I wanted to let you guys know about as far as what we got going on. We're going to give you like 5 keys to getting your comic out before print. Okay, so I'd say 5 keys to crowdfunding your comic before print. Fortunately, I don't have a banner up for that, but so we'll get that out. We'll get it together this week. But 5 keys to getting your crowdfunding your comic before print. So it's a very important thing when you're making your comic. You've already gone through like all the 7 steps, parts that we did before. So if you want to go back into our YouTube chain and mix and find out how to get your comic together all the way up into how to go to print, this will be a good time for you to actually do that. Subscribe to our channel, obviously, and let other people, others know that, Comicsburgh is talking about how to get your comic together. Now we're at the point where we're talking about how to get your comics into to print and everything. So 5 keys to crowdfunding your comic before you print. Let me go ahead and let me see if I can copy and paste that. All right, so you actually know what we are talking about here. All right. StreamYard makes it easy for us to get these banners up. So, we got to show them off. So 5 keys to crowdfunding your comic before you go to print. All right. So the first key is, so one of the first keys is to make sure that you have your comic mostly finished. And the biggest thing here is mostly. So while with crowdfunding, you don't have to have your comic book completely finished. Platforms like Kickstarter and other platforms, BackerKit that that does a lot of crowdfunding for comics and everything. They want to make sure that you can see that your progress, your Kickstarter is progressing along. Okay, so if it's 50, 25%, 50%, 75% done, it basically gives Kickstarter a reason to go ahead and approve your Kickstarter, showing and to let others know that that there's a reason to come and back you so you can finish your product. So what they're backing is basically a way for them to finish the product and everything. If it's all done and you're just basically out there trying to collect more funds just to fund you, they won't be as apt to back, to approve your Kickstarter. So if you can show that, or just say that it's like, 25, 50, 75% done, that'll be a big thing. And one of the biggest reasons why crowdfunding campaigns fail is because the comic isn't, far enough along in production. Okay. When I say like 25%, I mean, that's fine to a degree and everything. I usually go 50 to 75%, before I get into like the whole trying to ask people for like, money and everything. But yeah, that's one of the bigger reasons why it may not go for you. Okay. Backers want confidence that the project actually is ready to be delivered, or will be delivered, I should say. So before you're launching your campaign, you should ideally have like the completed script finish. Obviously, we talked about that in previous campaigns. I'm sorry, previous parts in this From Script to Store series. At least 8 to 10 finished art pages. So if you got like some artwork already done, I would advise to make sure you display that, because to not display any type of art and just asking for money outright, when you go to like your Kickstarter, someone looks at your story and just sees all words, no pictures and everything. Who do you think is going to fund you? Who do you think is going to back you? Maybe you might have your friends and family, that, just likes you, just because and everything, which is fine. If you got like a lot of friends and family that, just like dropping money. But you want to give like the incentive for people who are not, your friends and family, which is really going to be your continued audience, a reason for them to, plop their hard-earned dollar down and actually coming back you. People work hard, during the week, and come Fridays, when they get paid, they're trying to find a reason to spend their money, put their credit card on something. And if they come across your stuff, if they like comics, they come across your stuff, Kickstarter, and they look at your story and see that, okay, it's not well developed, it just has a lot of words and descriptions and everything. visual descriptions, tell a whole lot. So if you have like 8 to 10 finished pages of art, a fully designed cover, ideally, if you can, before we even start the Kickstarter, and a clear idea of what the total page count is, these are really big things that goes towards giving that backer that confidence in order for them to, come and, back you and stuff. Okay. And basically, these pages become like the backbone of your campaign. They show readers what they're backing, and they build trust, because that's the biggest thing. You want to, you want them to trust you, because you're the one that's asking for funds, for you to continue like your if you want to call it a hobby, if you want to call it something that you're really doing full time and everything, whatever you're calling it, you're still asking these individuals for money, these backers for money, in order for them to put it into like your project and everything. I mean, the more finished your comic looks, the easier it is for people to say yes. And at the end of the day, you want them to say yes. Let's go ahead and back you. Okay. I'm gonna just give you like a quick example, okay, of a Kickstarter we got going on now that just started this week. So let's go ahead and look at my man Grant, from the League of Cryptids. He wrote and created the League of Cryptids. Okay, so we got his Kickstarter here. So as you can see, my man has like his story so far. As far as what the League of Cryptids is, the characters, Sasquatch, Nessa, Mothman, Jersey Devil, Chupacabra. He has his pages, some of the artwork, I should say, from what's new in in this particular issue. And mind you, this particular Kickstarter is on issue 4. Okay. So he's already done 3 successful Kickstarters for the League of Cryptids to even be at this point. So he can, show what people are, what backers will get once they, back this particular project. So you get like the artwork in here, which he already has done. And as you can see, he has the covers. He has the regular standard cover. Okay. He has the deluxe cover. Okay. And he also has a deluxe cover B and everything. So this Kickstarter just popped off this week, and he's already at 68 backers. It started on Monday. He's already at 68 backers, almost halfway through his goal, and it has 45 days left. This project is doing phenomenal so far. Grant is one of our best Comicsburgh creators. So this is, like I said, a really good way for this project to start off. So you guys could get like a good gander by going to like either Comicsburgh site or just going straight to Kickstarter and pulling up League of Cryptids, and you'll see everything that's going to go on with this. We'll show the video as far as this a little later, but I just wanted to give you guys a good way to look at what's going on with this particular project. Okay. And how to actually look at the artwork and see what's on your story, so you can give your backers that visual look. All right. So the next step is to make sure that you're building an audience. All right. So you're asking, DP, how do you build that audience? All right. Well, first of all, if you got family and friends, we talked about that before. That's one of your first and foremost ways for you to get like, initial backers, and basically that confidence to actually continue with the Kickstarter. Tell all your family and friends that you got this project, that you want help backing. Hopefully, they'll take you seriously enough, and they'll actually, get a Kickstarter account or any type of crowdfunding account. It doesn't have to be the Kickstarter platform. There's other platforms out there, but Kickstarter is one of the best and most popular ones. So I would recommend using them, when trying to crowdfund. But yeah, if you can, get them to back your project, this will be a really good way for you to build that confidence while you're still building your audience. So before you launch your crowdfunding It's really about not it's not about convincing strangers. It's about activating people who already know your work. Okay, before launching your campaign, spend time building that audience through social media, email newsletters, okay, convention appearances, online communities, podcasts, interviews. If you launch a campaign with zero audience, it's extremely difficult to gain that momentum. So if you have an online social media presence, that's great. So keep on that. Make sure it's no wrong way to do it. Just do it consistently and often. So basically displaying your link to your campaign, letting people know that it's out there. One of the biggest things and one of the biggest keys in advertisement and basically marketing is basically letting people know that your stuff is out there. So if you find yourself in a lull with as far as like, okay, well, people aren't backing my campaign, people are not coming to it. There's so much media and content out here and distractions. People may not know that your stuff is out there. So if you can find like the loudest avenue, maybe like a social media email to keep reminding folks that your stuff is out there throughout like the 45-day, like with Grant's campaign, or maybe a typical 30-day period when you're promoting your campaign, it puts the advantage it puts the ball in your court for making sure that people will back your campaign. So like I said, the email newsletters are great. And we'll talk about this in another, part, but email newsletters will probably be your biggest best bet. So as you're even creating your comic, if you're taking people through like your process, gathering up that email, if you are going to conventions and just talking to people, period, about your project and everything is so important, because people look at emails more importantly nowadays than any other social media stuff. While they're looking at social media stuff, they tend to look at emails and open up those emails as they take that a lot more seriously. Of course, you get a lot of spam email. Make sure your email does not look like spam. Okay. And you don't have to email often and every day because you don't want that inbox to fill up to where people will be, mad at you for doing this so often. So that's where you use your backup social media to keep an eye on, because typically with social media, like on Facebook, you could post 2 times a day. On Instagram, you could post 2 or 3 times a day. If you're doing TikTok stuff, you could produce multiple stuff, just to do whatever to get attention and to keep it consistent. That's the biggest thing. If you got access to podcasts and interviews for people, on YouTube, take advantage, reach out, network, use those avenues where you can actually talk about your stuff on a podcast or a social media channel. So people can ask you questions about your work and you can display your work, on their channel or podcast or what have you. If you don't have that access, create your own avenue. There's ways for you to create your own podcast or your own YouTube channel for you to talk about your stuff. You just have to get people to subscribe to it. But like I said, with social media, they'll have the links and you can actually, give people those links and they can actually look at your stuff. Okay. But like I said, if you can, network and get those into those arenas where you could talk to big YouTube channels or even moderate YouTube channels, so you can get some audience there, that'll help you out a ton. All right. So let's get to like the next one. So key number 3, offer a strong campaign. All right. All right. So if you offer a strong campaign, and basically your campaign needs a reason to exist. If people can eventually buy your comic later, why should they pass back the campaign today? I can't talk. Why should they go ahead and back you today? All right. Successful campaigns usually offer something unique and exclusive, like a Kickstarter exclusive cover, limited first print, editions, signed copies, early access to, the story elements and everything may make the campaign feel more special and give the backers a reason to support your project early. The goal is to make sure that the project or the campaign feels like a version and like a collector's edition, not just a pre-order for something that you're gonna eventually put out later in stores or in other avenues and stuff. So you want to make sure backers feel special. I give these metal, metal bookmarks in a lot of my Kickstarters and everything to make the backers feel special. They're not cheap to produce. They're good metal bookmarks, and they make they round out the whole campaign and everything. And I usually, like I said, give those to backers versus giving them out at conventions and everything, because the backers, they pay a premium to actually have the stuff, inside your particular, specific tier and everything. So you want to make sure that you're including the exclusive that can only be gotten in your Kickstarter to make it well worth it, and a reason, like I said, for them to back. So that's super important, super just super important. And like I say, you don't want to make it feel like a pre-order and everything. Okay. So if you can find some low cost good avenues, good rewards and stuff that you don't have to pay an arm and a leg for to put into your Kickstarter, do it. And even simple stuff like signing. Not everybody, if you put your stuff in stores later, everybody's not going to get that opportunity to have you sign or have the original creator sign the project or the comic and everything. You could do that with your Kickstarter. You could sign the stuff with the Kickstarter. It doesn't cost you anything with just that, Sharpie, right? Sharpie marker for you to sign the stuff and get it out there. And there, your backer has an exclusive product that they know they're not going to get in the stores and everything, because it was exclusively signed for by you for them. So that's really big. All right, so let's get to the fourth one. So the fourth one we have here is price your rewards. Price your rewards logically. Price your rewards. Make sure that that they're affordable. And make sure you price your rewards strategically. A lot of creators accidentally make their reward tiers too complicated. The most successful campaigns usually have a simple ladder of tiers. For example, if you have a digital comic and a standard physical comic edition and a collector's edition with extras, supporter tiers with bundles, just the different variety of different tiers. Your most popular tier will usually come somewhere between $10 and $15. You may charge 10 for your digital. $10 and $25. You may charge 10 for your digital and 25 for your physical. They may or may not include shipping, so you got to take that into account as well. That range sort of tends to be the sweet spot where people feel comfortable supporting a project without overthinking it. Be clear and simple. Having clear and simple tiers help people back the projects even faster. So it's like that old thing that they say, keep it, the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. You want to keep your project looking simple and easy as possible for somebody to be attractive to plant their money down and everything. So if you got somebody that's coming out, because Kickstarter does reach out to and let others know that you have a project out there. And if they look at your campaign and see that it's all cluttered and complicated, I mean, the likelihood of them immediately backing your Kickstarter is no. You don't want that to happen. So you want it to look and be as clean as possible, still with all the visuals and everything. So they can actually back a lot quicker. Okay. So yeah, like I said, just it's a really good way for you to make sure that it looks great. You have to look at other examples. Let's go back and look at Grant's again and everything. Because he has a clean, simple Kickstarter that everybody can basically just look at and understand. So with Hicks Kickstarter, like I said, is out this week. Just started and everything. He has like a simple story. Goes right, from up top, he's letting you know what the story's about, letting you know what the characters are, And like I said, letting you know what the pictures look like. And he has his tiers. He has, like, he's looking at the digital copy of the 4th issue for $5. The print is like $7. The plus shipping and everything, obviously. So these are really good price points for his particular tiers. Not too expensive, not something over the top for like a good 22-page floppy and everything. And he also has, like, retailer bundles and stuff for multiple issues as well. So yeah, this is like a really good example of how clean his and simple his project is and everything. And while we're at it, we're going to actually go ahead and play like his video. So it's very important that you have a really good video with your Kickstarter. So let's go ahead and play Grant's video to see how he's promoting his issue number 4 here. All right. All right, so it's gonna play one day, maybe.
Sasquatch, the Loch Ness Monster.
Come on now.
Mothman.
Okay, I don't know if you guys are seeing. Maybe it's like YouTube stuff. Let's try to reset that again. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna restart this and hopefully it plays right. Sometimes YouTube can be acting funky and stuff.
Sasquatch, the Loch Ness Monster. Mothman, the Jersey Devil. Chupacabra. For millennia, these creatures have perplexed the human race. But what if they are forces of good? What if they have been sent here by a federation of more advanced alien species to help and defend the human race? That's the premise of League of Cryptids, a new comic book by Grant.
I do apologize, y'all. I guess the YouTube is
Lankard, creator of the smash hits Beowulf and Memoirs of the Morbid, is new.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and stop that. Stop the video here. But if you watch the video, if you just go to like our website and also go to like straight to directly to his Kickstarter, you'll see how simple and straightforward his video is. It's only 1.5 minutes long and everything, so it doesn't take long for him to get into what the book is about, how he's putting it out, what the characters involved in the story is, and what he's done to get up to this point and everything. So it makes a really good way for you and the backer to have more confidence in a project that he's currently promoting and everything. League of Cryptids 4, make sure that you go out and back that. And then finally, last but not least, we have be transparent about your timeline. Oh man, so very important. So backers understand that comics take time to so backers understand that comics take time. Okay, it takes time to put these things together. It takes time to actually get them printed and put out. So what they don't like is uncertainty. So if you can make sure that if once the backer backs your stuff after your campaign is over, you keep reminding them that you have like updates with your campaign. You can let them know where you're at in the stage in the campaign, how the timeline is going, how far out, what your expectation ETA as far as when the stuff is going to get into their hands and everything. The more work you could get that done ahead of time, as you're doing as you're doing your Kickstarter, the better and everything. It's not about just letting your Kickstarter just hang there and then waiting until the end to do everything. If you do that, make sure that you're upfront with your your backers so they can feel good and understand what the timeline is regarding the project. The campaign should clearly explain when a comic will go to print, when rewards will ship, on what stage of project it's currently in. So you want to make sure that you're building trust with your backers, so they actually know where it stands and they feel more comfortable supporting stuff of yours in the future. Okay, so basically, crowdfunding is basically all about making sure that you get number one, that you want to get the funds so you can actually do what you want to do as far as getting your stuff printed, or whatever you need to do in order to further your campaigns or put into your next issue or project, so you can keep your hobby or whatever going. All right. Crowdfunding before printing your comic isn't just about raising money. It's about reducing risk, building an audience, and also proving demand for your story. When done right, a crowdfunding campaign doesn't just fund one book. It builds a whole community that supports the next book, and the one after that, and the one after that. If you're working on a comic project, start preparing your campaign early and focus on these 5 keys. They'll give your project a much stronger chance of being successful. Okay, so that's really that's really it in a nutshell. We can go in further on other parts on how to further refine your project and everything, but I wanted to do this particular one because we did the print one before this, and I wanted to give you guys a chance to check out how to raise your funds, because there's several ways you could do that. But Kickstarter, I think, is one of the precise things. If you're planning on putting yourself in stores, getting a Kickstarter done before you do that gives you a way to build up that audience, so you can, number one, get funding to help you do that. Number two, you can start seeing and get a gauge of how your stuff resonates with the audience you're trying to build. Okay, so and you can feel confident. So just to keep your stuff, I do crowdfunding for all my stuff. I'm the writer and creator of the Theme of Thieves, so I do do all that for my stuff. And like I said last week, we just signed a distribution deal with IPG to get our trade paperbacks put into national book outlets and everything. So I do my comic Kickstarter before then, so I could get the gauge, and then go through the process of using those funds to printing, and so on and so forth and everything, and it also helps out. It doesn't all have to come out of my pocket. And like I said, I try to give my backers the best, as far as the exclusive that others can't get in stores, so they know that they feel like special, and they do feel they are special. There are special backers. A few more things before we're done for today. We checked out the League of Cryptids. We do got some other Comicsburgh projects coming out here soon. We got The Edge Volume 3 from Marvin. We're at 93 followers, so let's get to 100. Make sure that go into the show notes. I'll have the show notes ready with all our links to our campaigns and everything. I didn't see this cover, Marvin. This looks nice. All right, so the Edge on Kickstarter. So this was done, looks like recently and everything. He updated it. But if you go to his coming soon page, you'll see everything that's coming soon as far as The Edge Volume 3, God's Thunder. I'm sure he'll have other volumes available so you can catch up. All right, so we got that coming out pretty soon here. We also have he has another Kickstarter coming soon with Blaine, the 1/8 18th inch action figure, so the G.I. Joe style and everything. So you'll see that, and you'll make sure that you're following that. This was this is a popular character in the Edge line. You want to make sure that you're if you like toys, if you like the size of toys being G.I. Joe style from back in the day, this is a really good way for you to actually get on the ground floor as far as this particular character. And look how cool he is and everything. Look at that. I mean, man, you can't beat it. I cannot wait till this action figure comes out so I can put it on my shelf in my collection and everything. I mean, it's such a beautiful thing. So make sure that you're going to follow that particular Kickstarter. Is called Blame from the Edge, 1/8 scale action onto 18th scale action figure. All right, and of course, make sure that you guys are going to at Comicsburgh. We are all over social media. Like I said, hold on. Gotta get my house cleaning thing up at Comicsburgh. All right. I just want to show you our website right quick so you know exactly where to go. Okay. We are at Comicsburgh. All right. That's not what you should be seeing right there. Oh, you know what? I have to show you the Comicsburgh Annual. All right. So let me show you that right quick. All right. So we are coming out with a special, Comicsburgh Annual special here, where it gives you the best of Comicsburgh. It gives you all the preview of different Comicsburgh stories, that we have. We have like stuff from Trillion, Cataclysm Comics, Incubator Productions, of course Beowulf, Grant, The Edge from from Marvin, and the Theme of Thieves from myself, DP Brown. All right. So this will be coming out in about the next few weeks. So make sure that we're still refining, the project. So when it comes out, like I said earlier, you'll feel special about the stuff that we're gonna, put into this and give you once the campaign, starts and everything. So you'll see all the links to all our stuff in the show notes. Okay. Like I said, if you're liking what you're seeing with Comicsburgh, follow us at comicsburgh.com. Send us some feedback, at info@comicsburgh.com. And don't forget to support your local library there. Thanks again for choosing to watch Comicsburgh. Thanks again for coming out and seeing me, your friendly neighborhood DP Brown. And then I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.